Chapter 9. What about this body? The principles of spiritual healing have been explained in the foregoing chapters, but an explanation does not heal. Even though you have gained some understanding of these principles, in order for them to be made practical and workable, and for you to develop a healing consciousness, they must be removed from the realm of generalities, from a mere intellectual exercise, and brought to bear on specific problems, whether financial, moral, mental, or physical. One problem which is uppermost in the lives of a great many people is that of health, that of an ailing or aging body. Even those who are at the moment experiencing physical well-being are puzzled by the relationship of what they see as a material body to the spiritual scheme of things. What about this body? How does it fit into a spiritual universe? Is this material body the Word made flesh? Is it the material body, or only the spiritual body which is resurrected? Does the material body manifest God? Do not be too startled when I say to you that there is only one body. There is not a material body and a spiritual body. There is only one. Here, as in every aspect of life, the principle of oneness applies. True, we entertain a material concept of body, and it is that concept of body which gets all twisted up and involves us in all manner of ills. But the body has no power to cause trouble. The body has no power to be good or bad, sick or well. It is our concept which appears as a sick or well body. When your concept is a material sense of body, you open yourself to all the sins and diseases to which the body may be subject. The moment, however, that you drop that concept and realize that there are not 2 or 3 or 4 kinds of bodies, but that there is only one body, and that body is the temple of the living God, God governed, God maintained, and subject only to the laws of God, you bring this very body under God's grace. If you believe that your body is material, you are limiting yourself. But if you feel, well, as I see it, I certainly have a material sense of it, I can understand that and agree with you, because everybody, to some degree, entertains a material sense of body. Jesus carried a material sense of body with him right up to the ascension. Even after the crucifixion, when he walked the earth, he still had the marks of the nails and the sword in his side, showing that even at that advanced stage of spiritual unfoldment, he was entertaining in some measure a material sense of body, although far less than any other person of whom there is any knowledge. It was only at the ascension that he rose, not above the physical body, not above a material body, but above a material sense of the body. Then what became of his wounds and blood? They were not there. He had become pure white essence, so white in essence that he ascended out of sight. When you can arrive at an understanding that even though you are entertaining a material sense of body, you are not a material body, gradually the material sense of body will dissolve in the realization that there is no power in effect, no power in the body, no power in the organs and functions of the body, no power in germs, no power in food. All power is given unto me. Then you are not well because your heart is well. Your heart is well because you exist. You do not walk because your legs are harmonious. Your legs walk because you are harmonious. In physical health, you are only healthy because your body is healthy. But spiritually, when you are whole, your wholeness governs the activity of your body. Therefore, your body does not govern your health. It is your health that governs your body. It is you who governs your body through the realization of your true identity, and that realization becomes the health of all those who turn to you. Let us assume that John Jones has asked for help for a physical condition. He may have mentioned that his problem was influenza, which at that time was raging throughout his community and may have reached almost epidemic proportions. In your treatment, Your first recognition is that this is a suggestion of a selfhood apart from God, and that leaves you free to forget the patient and the condition. The entire truth that you know is about God, and the entire treatment remains on the level of God. If God is infinite being, there is no other being. There is no John Jones being separate and apart from God. There cannot be God as infinite being and some other being besides God. God is an all-inclusive good, and besides that good, there is nothing else. Furthermore, if God is infinite, God must include all law and be the only law. That eliminates all possibility of any law other than the law of God. Therefore, in the spiritual kingdom, no laws of matter can operate. In that kingdom, there can be no law of infection or contagion. There can be no laws of material evil. There is only God law, spiritual law, perfect, complete, harmonious, all-enforcing, and self-enforcing. There is nothing to oppose the law of God, nothing to contend against it. God alone is law. God is the only life, the life of individual you and me. The life of God can never be sick or weakened, nor can it be subject to external influences of any nature other than God. Your entire treatment is kept in the realm of God, in the realization of God as individual life, individual mind, individual law, spirit, substance, and of God as the only cause. If God is the only cause, God must be the only effect. And if God is the only effect, that ends the treatment right there. You have nothing to meet now but God. God as cause, God as effect, God as life, God as law, God as all true being. By means of the first half of this treatment, you have lifted yourself above fear and above the appearance. The appearance was a John Jones with a claim of the flu, but by remaining in the realm of God's completeness, you have long since lost any thought of John Jones and his problem. You are now tabernacling with God and his angels. You have come to the end of your part of the treatment, and you now take the attitude of listening as if you really expected to hear a voice. Sooner or later, there comes a deep breath, a click, sometimes a message, but usually something of a nature that brings release. The responsibility is gone and now rests on his shoulders. That ends the treatment as far as you are concerned, and you can now dismiss it because God is on the field and it is no longer your responsibility. 6 or 8 or 12 hours later, John Jones may call and report, "I am feeling worse," or "I am feeling better," or "I am completely free." If he is completely free, that is the end of it. But if he is worse, or if he is just the same or feeling some better, you may feel led to give him another treatment. And so you will go back again, not in the same words or thoughts, but always keeping your conversation in heaven, always keeping your treatment on the level of God. Realize the truth only about God, because any truth you know about God is the truth about you, or me, or John Jones. That is a natural corollary of the infinity of God. God is infinite, and therefore there is no you, or me, or John Jones, except as, in, and of the Godhead. No one can be outside of God if God is infinite, and being a part of and in God, whatever truth is known about God is the truth about individual being. In almost every case that comes to you, you will find some human or material sense of law operating. It may be a law of infection or contagion, or a law of decomposition or breakage. Always some kind of a law has been laid down humanly, and that must be recognized as but of the substance of hypnotism. The problem may be one of organic or functional disease, and then into the treatment might come the realization that just as the leaves and stem do not govern the life of a plant, but that life governs it. So the organs, arid functions of the body do not govern life. Life governs the organs and functions of the body. As long as life is flowing, the plant flourishes. The stem and leaves are but the outer expression of the life force. In the same way, it is not the heart, the liver, or the lungs which determine life. God is life, and that life cannot be affected by the organs and functions of the body. Therefore, you do not have to be concerned whether they act in accordance with laws laid down by Materia Medica. By reversing these laws and realizing that life governs every activity of the body, it will manifest harmony and painlessness. In this realization of the true government of the body, you do not come down to the level of the body. You have merely corrected the belief that the body affects life by the understanding that life governs the body. The heart could not beat without life beating it. The digestive or eliminative organs could not work if there were not an intelligence and a life permeating those organs and acting in, on, and through them. The organs and functions of the body should not be feared. They do not have within them the power of destruction, death, or disease, because inherent in every person is the power of God, which is a resurrection even to the dead body, the dead organ, the dead function, or the dead muscle. Within individual consciousness is the power of resurrection. The Word becomes flesh. Does it change its nature in becoming flesh? No, not any more than water changes its nature when it becomes ice or when it becomes steam. In either form, it still has the properties of water. So it is that as the Word, God, becomes flesh, it does not change its nature. It remains the self-created, self-maintaining substance containing within itself the law, the cause, and the activity of its form. The realization of God as the governing principle of all there is, of God as the only substance and the only law, dissolves the appearances which the world calls sickness, sin, fear, and death. When you are living from the standpoint of concepts or beliefs, your experience is the manifestation of those beliefs, but the activity of truth and consciousness is the Word of God made flesh as harmonious being. Even though this is not always easy to do, and despite the temptation to dwell on the appearance, recognize it as suggestion or hypnotism and turn immediately to God. Keep your treatment up in that circle called God and let your knowing be the truth about God. There is no truth about a physical body, because it is only a concept. God is the animating principle or law of all that is. Do not pass over that statement too lightly, because daily and hourly you will encounter the laws of this world. Your treatment is that God is law. God, being infinite, law is infinite. Therefore, the only law that there can be is a spiritual law, and that spiritual law is the only law operative in individual experience, animating being and body. There is no physical law, mental law, or moral law to be overcome. I recognize only one law, and that is the infinite law of God, eternally and infinitely omnipresent. The law which is God is the all-power. It does not have to contend with other laws. It is itself the only law and the all law, a spiritual law, besides which there are no material laws, no moral laws, no mental laws, and no physical laws. There is only one law, and that law is God. Do not try to overcome material law, mental law, moral law, any law. Always recognize that you are dealing with but one law. Anything to the contrary that may be there is but a material sense of law. As you recognize spiritual law as the only law, all other claims of law disappear. The moment a problem of any nature is presented, immediately bring to consciousness the nature of the claim as material sense or hypnotism. Then the word God must come into consciousness simultaneously so as to blot out the entire picture of people, conditions, or circumstances. I remember a call that came from someone who had fallen afoul of a patch of poison ivy and was displaying the usual symptoms from having gotten into such a predicament. Quickly it came, so quickly that it was not a conscious thought that since God made all that was made, God was the constituent element or property of all that existed, and therefore the only effect could be something consonant with the nature of God. According to appearances, and according to human belief, there are properties that are unlike the good we associate with God, and there is no use denying that, because insofar as the human picture is concerned, it is quite obvious. However, in the infinite way, you are not dealing with appearances. The very essence of treatment in this teaching is, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. If you judge after appearances, you will be involved with the powers of this world. Do not deny the appearance of physical discord, but acknowledge God as the substance of all form. God is always appearing as the substance of form, whether that form appears as a rose bush or as poison ivy. Unless you have trained yourself by persistent practice in looking through the appearance, you may find it difficult to realize that God is the animating principle of everything that exists. The appearance may be called poison ivy, a rose, or a tumor, but there is no it. The truth is that God is the substance and law of all that is. When you can see through the appearance to God as the substance of the form, you will not be afraid to look at either poison ivy or tumors, because then you will understand that these are but a misinterpretation of that indestructible substance which is untouched by sin, disease, fear, worry, hate, envy, jealousy, or malice. This indestructible substance contains within itself the power of self-creation and self-maintenance. Make it a matter of daily realization. My body has neither qualities nor quantities of good or of evil. It has neither sickness nor health, is neither large nor small, has neither life nor death. My body is the temple of God. God, substance expressed as form and embodying and including all the qualities and quantities which constitute God, the I Am, the soul. My body has neither youth nor age. It is as ancient as God and as young as each new day. My body is not governed by laws of matter or of mind, but by the grace of God, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. God is the light of my body, and my body is neither material darkness nor mental ignorance, for God is the light unto his holy temple, which my body is. God unfolds, discloses, and reveals himself as body, as temple, a place of holiness and peace. God's grace maintains and sustains his body, which my body is.